Top Hill Recording Podcast, episode 166. Our guest tonight, Runaway Souls.
Grab another box Yeah, man. Woo. Wow.
Yeah. Great job, y'all.
Super cool.
So David and I were talking about this. The way all this came about, we'd all played with each other in different bands. David and I have been playing together 10, 12 years in different bands. And Darren and I were in a Petty tribute band together. And our bass player, Donnie, was in that band for a while. And it just kind of grew organically. And so it started out as a Crows tribute band. So it was, David and I were in a cover band that played a bunch of different things. And
I wrote Black Crows on my paper, man. I was like, man, it's got such a groove.
I'm not going to run away from that. I mean, I found a singer who had an amazing voice that just nailed that stuff. And so that was fun. And then, the pandemic hit, and it was like, do we want to keep playing somebody else's stuff? And, we had in my family what we refer to as the Trauma Olympics, and I'm not going to give you the scorecard of all the terrible shit that went down, but I had a lot of free time. And, because I work in medical devices, couldn't go to the hospital, couldn't go anyplace. And so I'm sitting there with a guitar, and my wife was going through chemo. And so I would make little videos and just make up songs to try and make her laugh. And so I don't know that she listened to half of that shit, but one of them, which was called Shelter With You, I was like walking around and talking to David. I'm like, that's not a terrible song. Like, we could record that. And FPK was doing a big 50 Tunes thing on their, COVID diaries and all that. So recording during COVID was painful, right? Because it was like, one at a time going in, and we had to be super careful because of my wife's issue and all that. And then it's like, well, that was fun. And then more stuff starts coming out. I hadn't put a record out since I was in college. And David and I would send stuff back. I'd send these terrible voice note recordings, painful to listen to, me singing. And he'd listen to them. And that song that we just played was intended to be, I mean, if you listen to the lyrics, it's just really about hanging out at home during a pandemic because there's nothing you can do. And it's just about trying to wish away time. And it was intended, like when we first were doing it, it kind of had this kind of acoustic kind of groove to it. Like, Saturday afternoon, you're day drinking barefoot in the backyard with your dog. Like, it'd be the song that dog would write. And then we got in the studio, and then it was like distortion, and we can play loud, and we haven't been able to play loud in forever. And the album version is great, and I love that, but I always wanted us to be able to do it like this.
Now you got it.
Yeah. Man.
Let David tell you his side of the story.
Yeah, I mean, so, just doing some cover band stuff for a while. And you start to emulate, as a singer, you try to kind of, catch some of the real vibe of these original songs. And some of it challenge trying to find your own voice, going from, just genre to genre in some cases, these cover bands that we were going with. And all of a sudden we start playing, well, I mean, first of all, Brian and I are both huge Crows fans, but we start playing more and more Crows, and the other bands, or, our previous band just starts to, not, realize where we were going, But it was easy. It was an easy transition to kind of start doing a tribute to them, just given kind of where I felt comfortable vocally, I think. It kind of, I think we just got comfortable with that, Southern rock kind of bluesy sound. So yeah, COVID's one of those things, that kind of thing, that kind of world pandemic, we couldn't go out and play in bars, so we didn't want to stop. And we had like a nice practice space we had to give up because we couldn't go in there. And that's when Brian and I have been playing so long. He knew how I sounded. He kind of, I think he wrote to me a little bit.
It was with that, like when I would write things, it would be like your voice would be the way the lyrics would sound. So we played together a long time, and that was the voice I wanted to hear. And doing a lot of the Crow stuff, you were talking about the open tuning thing. I mean, it's easy to think Keith Richards, and he's brilliant. Nobody writes better songs. But you get into Lowell George and Rich Robinson, and you start learning that, and you start learning all these weird chords that don't exist in standard tuning. And God bless Darren for putting up with this. I'll send diagrams and shit. You'll see in it gets crazy, but it's easy to make these really interesting and pretty combinations or things that don't normally work in a standard tuned guitar. I mean, there's a lot of bouncing back and forth between B flat and G that sounds super cool when you do it here. And on a regular standard tuned guitar, you would never do that. It's just unnatural. And so it opened up all this stuff. And then, I don't know, once you start listening, you're sitting at home listening to records because there's not a lot else. And like, I wonder if we could do something kind of in this vein. And, things just, if you've ever written music, you just sit down, you're playing guitar, and all of a sudden you're playing something that you didn't mean to play. And you catch yourself by surprise, and you're like, wow, that was cool. And try and remember what it was, or you try and do it again. And then, the iPhone voice notes thing.
I was going to say, thank God for voice memos, man. Otherwise, the days of remembering, are you out of your mind?
Oh, dude.
I forgot how to remember.
How many times has my wife watched me run out of a room to make a recording of some mediocre guitar riff that I thought up in my head? But then you start listening to other things, you're like, oh, if I took this piece and I put it with that piece, and that's we have a song, Guaranteed Catastrophe, that I could not figure out the chorus to, and I had something else that was supposed to be the verse, and I was like, no, wait, put those together. Worked well enough for us.
But it's amazing how quickly, just how quickly you get the character of a song comes together. Just sending over a voice recording on your iPhone, and then just putting some melody over it, and then doing making some adjustments and stuff. I think the first 5 songs that we recorded, we had never actually played as a band. Which is kind of crazy. Wow. And we kind of shopped some of that stuff back and forth, and then finally when we got to a place of comfort with the pandemic, and we finally got together and we got to finish out, I think this, not sequentially in the album, but the second half of that album, actually being able to create it as a full band was super nice.
Interesting, man. That is very, very interesting to think about that.
Yeah.
Half the album is without seeing each other. The other half is in a room or, together, grinding it out. That has to... Does it sound like 2 different albums, or does it sound like it? All right, and also, is it set up in that order? Can you?
No, it's not in that order on the record because we kind of wanted to
sequence
it.
Up a little bit. Yeah,
it's not in that order on the record. We wanted to sequence it just the way the songs kind of flowed together. But I mean, I remember going out to my deck with a measuring tape. I mean, nope, that's 8
personal,
feet
man. Oh no! Sorry, okay.
That's what he uses the ruler for.
Trust me. I'll have I go metric with that. Helps me a lot. But I was literally measuring space, and Darren and our old drummer and bass player would come over, and we'd kind of work on these things, and then David would come over, and we'd all it was all a small group. But like David said, we didn't really play all these songs together until right before the Delta variant, because we were going to play a show at the Melwood Tavern. It's like, well, we get to practice, and we get to play, and we'd never played these things together before.
They're like, I can't wait to play this with the band.
Yeah.
This sounds fabulous.
Speaking of the band, why don't you all go introduce yourselves real quick to everybody? Go around the room and...
you got to go drummer first, right? Because he wasn't ready.
His mic, man.
Yeah,
that's a true drummer.
Put it down, yeah. I'm Jim Becker, and I'm the drummer. And I am the newest member of the band. I've only been playing with them since started rehearsing in October and did the first gig in December.
Oh, right on, man. Not even a year deep, huh?
Great addition, though.
Nice.
So I'm Woody Woodmansee, playing keys here. I was super psyched when they asked me to come put down some tracks on the album, Karma Delivery. And actually, I think Brian was like, hey, do you want to come play our album release party? Oh, and also, you have to record the album. Yeah. But I was like, that actually checks out.
Dude, but that's a great hook. Great way to hook them in. Yeah.
Sales is what I do, but so
keys was the thing, Brian. I've been wanting for years. I mean, if you know the Crows and all that, but it's just it adds that element that I think we've needed. So yeah, I mean,
but the ultimate magic
adding Woody is huge.
The ultimate magic is sitting between us.
Oh, yeah.
With Ashley. Introduce yourself, my friend.
Yeah, I'm Ashley Vega. I'm a harmony singer. I wrote the 99% of the harmonies and
0.9.
0.9. But anyway, it's been great. It's been a fantastic journey, I think, and I have a good space to create that and do a lot of different projects. So this is the one I get to play with the harmonies in. So
cool. There's nothing better than a good harmony.
No, man.
We have another singer that works with Ashley, normally Toni Carroll, who we wish was here, and she's been slammed with work and can't. But that sound, and everybody brought people in. Our former bass player, Aaron Wagner, knew Toni and Ashley. We were like, yeah, you can find somebody that's great, bring them in. And there was a third person who, like Toni and Ashley came in, they've got like this dark hair and they look totally rock and roll. And the other girl looked like she was 16 with blonde hair and a pair of Keds. And we're like, hey, listen, y'all are great. And she's lovely. But this is going to be problematic. Somebody's going to think we abducted her.
Right. Well, Toni and I, we worked together at the time and we taught. And then at the same school. And
vocal coaches.
Nice. I did some of that and then administrative side of things. So we knew each other from that. Aaron comes to the desk and he's like, do you know anybody that sings? I was like, yeah, I do. He was like, do you know anybody else that sings? I said, Toni, she's great.
Like, Aaron, what are you thinking here? Well, I'm thinking of a cappella bass group. What do you think?
yeah, I was very
Lady
curious
singers and
at that
a
point.
bass.
So that was
Let's
the
get it together.
situation.
Sounds good, really.
And then what he was joking about was, so Woody's wife's a great photographer, and she came to shoot a show that we played. And I guess you knew James, right? So it's a small community. So James Hewitt, former drummer. And James comes up to me and goes, hey.
James doesn't drum anymore?
Jim. Instead, we traded a James for a Jim.
No, it's just James, former drummer.
Yeah.
Just a former drummer.
I don't think
They've got to be named something Jazz.
He's a great guy. We love him to death.
Things don't work out,
he had
Jim.
other
Jerry
things.
is just right there.
He had some other priorities, and
Oh, I was having beers with him the other night. He's already looking at another kit. He's not letting it go. But yeah, he's just he's got 3 girls under the age of 4, I think.
I think he's hooked.
It's had to find that balance,
and in small
his current
enough
state.
world, he and I used to work together for like 6 years. Former drummer. Yes.
So
Spooky
to
stuff.
be in this band, you had to be a former coworker of one of you.
Somebody had
A lot
that.
of layers
It's all-
inside.
I mean, this town is like the Million Man Mayberry, right? Everybody knows everybody somehow.
That's true.
That's why you can't cut people off in traffic because it's one of your mom's friends, most likely.
Yeah.
But
Who gives you the finger? You're like, how do my mom's friends just give me the finger?
and you know what? You just got to
I just
smile.
saw you with the
and go,
scrapbooking
Yeah,
class.
she's 74.
Hey, how are you? Okay.
You at
Let it go.
the
I think we need to do like a family tree of all the bands who musicians
Good Lord.
play
God.
with each other.
It's Louisville though, so it's a shrub because it doesn't really branch. So I mean, it's just,
Yeah. Well, we've been doing this podcast for, I don't know, almost 4 years now, Brad and I, who's will be back in a couple weeks. But that's the one thing that is the common denominator in Louisville music scene is everybody supports or plays with or goes to shows of other artists. I mean, it is the most supportive and inclusive community as long as people know what's going on or aren't playing that night. It seems to be the case anyway, because everybody we've had nobody come in here and trash another artist, another band, another anything that has to do with
don't
this.
get us started. Hang on.
Well, it's just, well, I mean, it is there's I can't think of any time. Everybody's just super supportive of each other, and we've had people in here 4 and 5 times playing with 4 and 5 groups. It's just a very, very unique and like you said, it's a small community. So inside of that small community is a smaller community where everybody just seems to support each other, man. It's been the biggest pleasant surprise on this end of it, being able to talk and kind of get the feeling of that. And like this guy, he plays all the time and people share his stuff and other musicians support. And it's cool, man. It's been awesome to see.
Truly.
So, all right, you guys, I'm ready for another one. Y'all want to play another song for us?
Do that.
All right, give us, what are you going to play?
Sure. Oh, this one's called She Gave Me. Yeah.
sitting on a stage with it, just us all alone. She knew my name, but I never knew her. And she gave me everything I want, baby, though I never learned. For me, in 93, I was just waiting for the right time to be an honest man. But I never had just one more chance to tell you who I am. For the fame and fortune, I'm a child of a wealthy man. Yeah, well, my father was a founder. I found her, yes, I did. With paint on my shirt and my heart on my sleeve, I told her anything I want, baby, and she still believed. For me, in 93, but I was just waiting for the right time to be an honest man. But I never had just one more chance to tell you who I am. Back home where the grass is blue, I wrote her every day just to say that I missed you. Off to conquer the damsel in distress and a dress. I'm not the guy that you thought I was, no, I must confess. For me, in 93, but I was just waiting for the right time to be an honest man. But I never had just one more chance to tell you who I am. I was just waiting for the right time to be an honest man. But I never had just one more chance to tell you who I am. Oh no, hell no.
Nice.
So great.
All right, so I can't quit thinking about the record. So I'm super interested, and I wonder if has anybody ever listened? Have you ever listened to it Sorry to be stuck on this. My brain works in weird ways. Have you ever listened to it with the song? How many songs are on it?
10.
Is it 5 and 5? Did you do 5 pre, 5
yeah.
post?
It's streaming, but yeah.
I mean, in terms of like playing.
As far as recording, did you do 5 without seeing each other and 5 with seeing each other?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think it was 5, yeah.
I want to know, have you ever listened to those not in order like of your recordings, but did you listen to the 5 that you recorded alone and then the 5 that you recorded and wrote as a group back to back to back to back? You know what I mean? Like, here's these 5.
A-beat them kind of thing.
I want to know if if you can hear it in the recording, the period in time where we were living in.
Yeah.
You know?
Because so like a great example is we were working on the song we're going to play next, Guaranteed Catastrophe. And so Darren and I got together at the house and David and I worked on it a bunch. And like we had it, but there's stuff that you do when you play it live, like play the guitar solo. And so, there's a big gap in there. And so James, our former drummer, and I went in the studio and we put down the backing track, that's the way we would do it. James and I'd go in together into the studio. Donnie, the bass player, owns the studio. It's at his house, BBD Labs. And we'd go in and then everybody else would come in after. And then we would hear those parts. And so on the first song, Shelter, I went back in and Donnie's like, listen to this. And he had added keyboards. And it was that thing of like, it was collaborative, but not all at the same time. And you can definitely hear a difference. Like first time we heard the guitar solo for Catastrophe, David and I were like, that's brilliant, but not maybe what we need. Instead of us working together on stuff where we can kind of, you know how it is. You play with people, you get the eye contact from somebody of like, oh, maybe I should do it different. Let me try this.
All right, let me say it in a different way because I don't think that I agree with that. Yes, that there's definitely a difference when you layer things in and go in, but I'm just talking about the mood of the songs and the recording itself because everything vibed into that pandemic. I mean, like it was just thick. The feeling, everybody wore it, regardless if you didn't want to or it didn't matter. It was just a heavy time. So I'm just like wondering, not only did it sound like it was recorded separately with here's this part, here's this part, here's this layer, but does it feel different? I mean, does it feel heavier? And even if it's not lyrically heavier or if it's not musically heavier, is there a heaviness to the 5 that maybe you don't even realize because you've never thought about it or listened to it like that? But I would almost be surprised if there wasn't a difference in those 2 separate 5-song recordings with the overall feel.
Yeah, no, there is. And what it is the first few songs were really about resilience, right? We're in the middle of it. Right? Had tons of stuff getting thrown at us every day. Everything's crazy. You don't know what the heck's going on, right? And while that's a theme that runs throughout it, I think that, like the first 5 songs were about getting through it. And the last are a little bit more about walking away from it and getting beyond it. Like you listen to a song like Exit the King, which honestly is like just about, and there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into where that came from, but it really is just about walking away and say, I know what it's important to me and I'm walking away with that. Whereas the first few songs, Shelter, Guaranteed Catastrophe for sure this time, those were all really about, how am I getting through this? So it definitely impacted the way things got written. And then you listen to, and then there were funny songs. I mean, High End Lo-Fi Blues is really about me getting drunk on the couch and buying shit on my iPhone and buying records and stuff because you're like, I don't know what else to do. And this is like, the way I'm going to get through this is, drinking some decent bourbon and buying a record I didn't need and whatever.
That's awesome.
I bought an RV.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's
guilty.
all that. Yeah. Right. I mean, we all did a little bit of that. And then you listen to songs like Karma Delivery, the title song, it is really, coming out of all that. But that's the one that probably is lyrically, I guess, the most different because it really comes from an expression amongst my friends when you'd see somebody kind of getting what was coming to them. Karma's the most on-time delivery service ever. And that got shortened to just you'd see something happen and you'd get a text that said get a picture and karma delivery. And I don't know, I just kind of thought up a story from that, and David and I sent stuff back and forth. And that was one where we actually got to go into a room together and play it. And the feel was, I think you can feel the difference in that. I mean, it's a heavy song. It's a harder rock song, intentionally so, but it doesn't feel quite as, it's not quite as sad, even though it's not about happy things.
Maybe it's about connection. Maybe those first 5 would feel a little bit more disconnected regardless of what the, even though you wrote them in the time and you're talking about, being in the midst and getting through. Maybe that's it. Maybe the layers kind of add to what was going on and what you were trying to say. Maybe it worked out better that way.
I think that's a good way to look at it. I mean, you look at, we have a song called Can't Slow Down that, it's like the happiest song ever written about a funeral. It's just, it was coming out of that stuff and finding positivity. And so, people look at me a lot with the songwriting, but really it's like I brought the groceries, but we all made dinner together, right? I think Can't Slow Down, Exit the King, songs like that, we had the shell of what was going to go on, some lyrics and hear the chords, and then we'd come in and everybody's got ideas. Everybody of, hey, what if we did this? What if we flip this over here? And that's, I think, why the other songs on the record sound maybe more cohesive, because it's got a lot more insight from everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd also grown writing together more, where people were comfortable going, hey, what if we did this? Instead of, oh, maybe I shouldn't say.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting, man. Yeah, that's another thing that I kind of am learning with the songwriting process is other voices matter when it, you can definitely get stuck in your own thing to where, I spent most of my entire life writing by myself until, the last few years with Brent and then now Dusty and a few other people. And I don't even think it's so much going, well, I want to be the one who wrote it. I don't want a co-writer. It's just, it's such an intimate and personal thing to free what you are writing up to allow another voice. And it's like a trust thing. And it's almost like a trust fall, okay, I'm going to give you this and I trust you not to, step on my emotions or my intent here. And it opens the song up,
Yeah, for sure.
Especially when you have a good idea and you bring it to a group. Especially, you got 57 people in this band, so there's always, no, I'm just kidding. No, there's always going to be a somebody that can kind of complete that sentence for you or figure out that, hey, what if we go here with this next chord change, which has been part of the process that I've loved, writing with other people. It's just
it's so much
stuff
better
you never think
because,
about.
listen, I'm a firm believer that my idea isn't the ultimate version of what this is. I mean, we have a song called Exit the King where I'd been playing this riff in my house and it was just, oh, this is great. And we were playing it in the practice room and Donnie, our bass player, went, no, don't do it that way. Like, just play this part and this, and it was like 1,000 times better. It was like, I never would have thought to do that.
Was it like a simplification?
Actually, yeah, it was. I was like, no, I have to add this part. No, we'll do that later. And that made that one part stand out so much more when we did that. Whereas the first part just kind of locks you into this riff.
Thinking like a simple bass player. No, I'm just kidding.
It was a great idea. And there's been times that, Darren and I'll work on parts and it's like, no, wait, what if we tried it this way or we tried it that way? And everybody has that input.
Yep.
And you want them to. I mean, everybody's coming from all these different backgrounds, all this different experience. I know what I know, but I need to know what they know because they all know a bunch more shit than I do.
Yeah. I always say anytime I'm in a room of musicians, if I can be the worst player, then we'll be fine. Well,
I've won that battle.
Yeah. See, that is a good room to be in because you go, sweet, everybody's better than me. I'm going to learn something today. I'm going to figure something out. I'm
stealing ideas from everybody.
Yeah. That's why you got to have friends like, Dusty and guys like that. You just cheat off of them.
Come on.
That's mine now, baby.
Plus, I mean, I think, we started off. It's not like we didn't have this intent to create an album even.
No.
You know, like we just, it was an excuse to play, you know, getting into the studio, even if we had to do it separately and just kind of, you know, give this kind of original stuff a shot.
That's interesting.
So once we got a few songs under our belt and started to feel some kind of character building and some real sound that we're developing, I think it started to pour out of Brian, you know, and the band a little bit more.
Wow. It's wild that you didn't have the intent to make it even.
And then once
album.
you get to that point, there is this kind of point of no return. And like, listen, we've got those 5. I mean, let's do this. Let's you know, this isn't just us playing around. If we've got 5 songs, let's get together and like make a real album we're proud of, I think. I mean, that's how I looked at it. So
yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, you take a little bit more pride, I think, as you go along when you have a little intent. It's a special thing to have an album, I think. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Not everyone gets to do that.
For sure. Big in Germany, by the way.
Yeah, huge. Big in Sheboygan. Big in Sheboygan.
Well, and then Woody was talking about, you know, we invited him to come in. We had, was it 5 or 6 songs that were still left to do?
Yes.
What he shows up
about
with
half, yeah.
Woody rolls up with a Nord and a Rhodes and like a bank of keyboards. It was amazing, and I was like, "This is going to be so great." And you know, we'd sent him the rough mixes of the songs without keyboards, and it was just me and Donnie and Woody sitting in the studio. And I think he knocked out 4 of them in that first setting. Like, what if I did this? And we're like, "Oh my God, that's brilliant! Yes, do that again. Record that. Make sure we get that." And then we came back and finished it up, and we were kind of under the gun because we had an album release show, because it's like, all right, we better put a date on the calendar to finish this thing. But it having Woody on the keyboards on that took it to such another level, because it was, you know, such creativity and such great playing.
Yeah.
And it was what it needed.
Yeah.
It really needed that sound.
And you get a player like Woody, you go, yeah, you just record it.
Yeah.
Go, do you play whatever you want to play, and I'll sit in here and go, I couldn't even, that's amazing. I didn't know that's what this song could sound like, you know? It's you just...
Ashley and Toni were the same. I mean, just like super professional, and you come in and,
you know,
we wanted that. I mean, I was literally, I'm going to go down to this Baptist church. I'm doing some gospel singers, you know, and when they came in, I was just hoping they had that sound, is that deep, rich sound. And like, they just know how to enhance it, you know, like where to fill in, and like, you know, definitely add some more depth to my vocals, you know, since I'm a little higher. And they just know what to do. It's not like a lot of hand holding in that regard with those harmonies either. So
one thing that I would hate to do is like, hey, do you want let's work on our harmonies? Yeah. Here's the line I sing. Can y'all figure it out?
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, this is the longest they let me hold a mic in any of these practices ever. So.
Right, yeah, but this is practice is really for the guitar players. Let's face it. I mean, you know, how often do we work on harmonies? It's amazing. You know, we do what we do.
We do modular guitar or modular band practices where it's just strings or just this guy. We'll have a band practice without the drums.
Dude, you have 6 people, 8 people. You have to do modular band practices.
Managing 8 adult schedules is ridiculous.
Nightmare.
Yeah, that's what. Even when Brad sent the email, he's like, I don't know what we're gonna have. I'm gonna send the email and see what. So we got the list, and then I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure singers don't play guitars or instruments. So we're looking at so you know, it worked out. All right, Dusty.
Yeah.
My man, you got to go to the Brad's corner questions.
Is the whole band or individually you think we should do?
Just everybody.
Okay, cool.
That's a good one.
This is the Brad special 3 here. So we're gonna start with you, Darren, or is it David? Okay, you're Darren. Okay. What's something non-musical you want people to know about you?
Even if it's like a weird
anything.
You know. Collection, or I collect my toenails.
Yeah, not that eccentric. You know, I don't know. I'm a twin.
Oh, okay. All right, that's perfect. That's a great answer.
The name
Fraternal?
Thomas. Yeah, fraternal.
Okay.
The name Thomas in the Bible means twin, ironically.
Oh, really?
My mom's a twin. My mom's twin had twins. You know, it's just kind of in the.
Your mom's twin had twins?
Yeah.
And your mom is a twin. So your mom's a twin and her twin had.
My mom's twin, her daughter had twins, I guess is what it was. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like
skipped a generation.
Skipped a generation for her. Yeah.
And your mom had twins.
Yeah, I've got Do
you have kids?
Yes, no twins. Fortunately, yeah.
They're definitely having twins. Whoever has you're going to have twin grandchildren.
Yeah, boy and girl, but yeah.
All right.
But no, yeah. But yeah, that child of the '80s, it was right, man. Right, that's why I was like Crows. It's just like right at that time where you're kind of an adult and you're coming out in the '90s, and just I had enough. I got to see kind of the late '80s and '90s and the music, and there's something nostalgic about those decades, man. So I still kind of hold on to some of that shit,
Yeah.
It's like I take it upon myself to like bring my kids up with like the proper music. I mean, Finn, we got the Alexa type of thing, and so he's in there, and he'll just Alexa, But he's listening to Rush lately. It's like his thing.
Nice.
But I mean, really span just a good mix. And I just feel like it's part of something in that generation. Like I want to start him like on the Nintendo. So he's playing original Nintendo. Man. He's watching like the Goonies and Karate Kid and like Back to the Future and shit,
Rad.
So
anybody remember that movie?
Yeah. Love
Rad. Oh yeah.
I had Rad
BMX
racing shirt on yesterday.
Oh wait, I thought you were talking about Goonies.
No, Rad. The movie Rad. The BMX.
The BMX. That's the BMX show.
What, dude? That is one of the best '80s movies ever.
I'll have to watch it.
Yes, sir. You got to watch Rad.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, I just.
I say that age as well or not. I haven't seen it.
Right up there with Gleaming
it's
the Cube.
It's not great.
No, it's not great. But it's still, that's why it's great.
It's rad. It's not good. It's rad. All right. Darren.
What about you, Darren?
Things about me.
Something interesting.
There's so many.
Non-musical.
I despise golf.
Oh.
All right.
I love so many things.
We're going on to you.
No. But as a recovery, I have an exact replica of O.J. Simpson's Bronco.
He does.
And I'm not lying.
As a recovery.
So I'm back to zero.
I love that.
Yes, I do.
That's fantastic.
I do have O.J. Simpson's Bronco, and I don't know why. That just came to mind.
You ought to give like Uber getaway rides. Like get in the back. I'll drive you around town.
Have a license plate that
off.
says the juice is loose.
Yeah, have some leather driving gloves in there.
Absolutely.
Have somebody with a fake drone helicopter following the thing to make it feel like a real chase.
So
interesting.
I used to go to parties and drive that thing to parties all the time and completely bullshit people. We would be playing cards, drinking, goofing around. I was like, hey, man, I won OJ's. He came upon hard times. It was Al Cowlings' freaking Bronco. Nobody knew the real story. So I was like, OJ came on hard times during the trial, and I bought that Bronco, from a guy, or from a guy who bought it from him. And long story, and people would actually go out and get pictures taken with it.
Wow.
And I'd never ever. Sorry, everybody.
This is great.
That I did that too. No, and I never admitted to it. But until just now, that's not. It's the exact same everything. It's just not actually Mr. Juice's.
Mr. Juice's.
Gotcha.
Rig by any means. And I'm really sorry if I've offended any golfers.
Oh man,
out there.
I just think it's hilarious. Not offended, but it's just funny because he's got a golf course in his backyard, basically.
Well, I do too, actually. The funny thing is, my house backs up to a golf course.
Oh, I don't have a real golf course. I got my golf course.
Is that why? Are you traumatized?
No, I'm happy
Valhalla.
It's actually an abandoned golf course.
What?
Oh.
Yeah.
What?
So you want to talk about fun, man?
You want to go cut some grass?
Sure.
You want me to bring my phone?
That's why you hate it. There's just like.
No, it's an abandoned golf course. It's kind of my backyard play. I know the people that own it. I take my dogs out walking on the golf course.
That's how much he hates golf course. Like, shit on this golf course. All over it.
You see those patches, man? I did that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I take my two little Labrador dachshund weird animals out and onto the golf course, man. Have a good old time with that.
Dotsadors.
Dotsadors.
Wiener retrievers.
You Never mind.
All right, what about you, Jim?
Well, like Darren, I hate golf too. And I don't live next to a golf course now, but when I was a kid, our house backed up to a golf course that was not haunted or abandoned. And that was in 1977, 78, around then. And back then, golf courses were good for one thing: sledding. Those blizzards, those 2 winters. Freaking awesome. So, yes, something non-musical about me. I taught Donnie, our bass player, how to drive a stick.
All right.
When he was 16.
Hey, man.
Donnie and I have known each other since we grew up together in E-Town. I'm a little bit older than him, but we've known each other since we were kids.
Dude, driving a stick is a lost art.
It is.
I'm telling you. And you know what I really like about driving a stick? I've seriously thought about my youngest, teaching him, because you can't text. You can't mess with your phone and drive a stick.
Yeah, that's why I tried to teach my daughter to drive it for that reason.
Yeah, it's a lifesaver. Well, hopefully not a lifesaver. Hopefully everybody lives, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it's a good hack to teenage driving.
And when the zombie apocalypse comes, they'll be the ones who can get that car going.
Yeah, that's a fact. Hey, my uncle was athletic director at Faribault High School for many, many years. And he taught me how to drive a 86 CJ7 Jeep on the track when I was like 13 years old. And he swore to me, boy, that's what he always said, hey, boy, you can drive this Jeep, you can drive anything in the world. And he's right. I drove it down.
Clutch,
oh, man.
The deepest clutch.
It's just I don't know. It worked. I can still drive a clutch to this day, man.
Me too. One of my cars is a manual. What about you, Woody?
Pretty neutral on golf, actually.
All right.
We brought in this golf theme.
Am I wearing a golf shirt?
My interests are so broad. Even my music-related interests or non-music-related interests are music-related. It's just all music. So I'm probably pretty boring like that, honestly. Like I go to concerts. I work on music. I play with bands. I try to write stuff. And so, yeah, I'm uninteresting, I guess. But I don't know. I'm kind of a sci-fi nerd, I guess. I've watched like every Doctor Who episode at least twice.
No shit. There's a lot of those, right?
Yeah.
What's your strategy for a zombie apocalypse? I know you have one.
Well, I would hope to be abducted by aliens, or
or learn how to drive a clutch.
Yeah, my brother taught me to drive a stick in his '67 Beetle. Talk about hard to freaking
dude.
Man, if you can drive that thing. It was a monster.
You flip it over, you can take it on that old golf sledding hill of gems from back in the day.
I do have a collection of, this is also music related, so back to that. I have a collection of Vinnie Paul related memorabilia. Vinnie Paul Abbott, of course.
Okay.
Pantera, Damage Plan, etc. Hell yeah.
Amazing.
I have his apron that he barbecued in. It's a Kiss the Cook with Gene Simmons' face on it, and it's got sauce all over it. I've got it it's like the centerpiece in my dining room in a shadow box.
No kidding.
Done up real nice. So
how did you get that?
That was sort of an auction, but my wife and I were, she's a big metalhead. I'm a metalhead myself. I don't know how I always gravitate towards like this soul and more rootsy and Americana kind of bluesy music. That's kind of what I always tend to end up playing. But I go home and listen to Slayer. So I don't know how that works. But yeah, we actually, when my wife and I got married, we were married by an Elvis impersonator, of course.
Of course.
We eloped to Vegas. And then that night we ended up at a bowling alley down the street, Brooklyn Bowl in Vegas, where Hell Yeah was playing that night.
Nice.
And
no shit.
my wife's in this amazing like black wedding dress. It's like, she looks totally brutal and amazing, and kind of caught the band's attention. Vinnie Paul sent out his drum tech and is like, man, you guys got married, and so we were able to like meet him a couple times. We've got drumsticks and set lists and stuff that he gave us that night. The whole collection that kind of started from there.
It's a wedding gift, man.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome.
And we got to talk to him, and Chad Gray from Mudvayne was there with Hell Yeah, of course. And they're both like giving us like marriage counseling. Like, here's what you got to do. You're gonna fight, but you just think back to this moment. Think back to how you feel today, and just always come back to that, and you'll get through it. That was Chad's advice.
Good advice.
Yeah.
Right on.
Right?
I'm a professional golfer. No, I'm definitely not. I'm kind of ambivalent about golf. I do have a personal zombie apocalypse strategy, which is you always watch these shows and you see the survivors and they're tired and they're hungry and they're miserable and that looks terrible. But you don't want to be one of the zombies you don't want to be eaten by one, right? So the strategy is day one, you go out, you grab one of them, you bring them in the house, you get them to just nibble on your arm just a little bit. Throw them back out, you wait, you turn into a zombie, you spend the rest of your life walking around looking for snacks. That's what I was going to be doing anyway. You look at the zombies, no stress.
No stress.
They're not worried about anything. They don't have to eat anything because they're already dead.
Huh.
You know.
All right.
I don't know if zombies poop or not. I'm a little worried about that.
I don't know. I've never.
You wouldn't care.
Good question.
Right?
Your brain just kind of shuts off, I think, when you go to that.
I guess
that
either
side.
way, it's fine as long as you're not uncomfortable. I don't want to be swollen or, I don't want discomfort.
I guess the real question is if they wipe.
Zombies?
Absolutely not. I know this for a fact.
You can always grab a hand if you needed one. Yank one off.
Ashley?
Oh, well, okay. So I guess a non-musical thing, kind of like Woody, though. I'm involved in a lot of music and different things. I grew up as a classical ballet dancer, so I did that for a good part of my life. So that's like my foundational performance aspect. And I also perform with the Va-Va Vixens.
Okay.
That's a local burlesque troupe and variety troupe, and that's a lot of fun. I do 3 or 4 shows a year with them.
Awesome.
So yeah, I could get to sing, I get to do a little bit of dancing, I get to be like the metal gothy person that I am
Jack
for the
of all
most part.
trades, huh?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I think that's a little bit of mystery about me, I guess.
I looked at your feet immediately when you said ballerina because I just think you like toes.
Yeah.
You know that move?
Yeah, the point shoes. Yeah.
No.
I've done it.
Yeah, I went, oh my God. I just think of breaking toes.
Yeah, you'd have to have
You
like
gotta
toes
work
of
up
steel,
to that
right?
point.
I can imagine.
Yeah, you kind of do a lot of exercises and decade of training before you like get to that point. You know?
Yeah, that's true. All right,
Special stuff.
So I guess this can kind of be a collective question for the group.
Yeah.
So have y'all since the I guess pandemic or pre or post, and a lot of y'all have played together before. Can you think of any like nightmare gigs or situations that you all have been in?
Let me just preface this. Do not say the name of the bar when you mention the Rocks. Because I like that dude.
All right, yeah, so I did this.
Hey, let me give him the setup. We're playing at a bar, and a friend of mine says, "Hey, by the way, there's these 3 like limestone bricks on the stage. Don't touch them." I was like,
it's like the Spinal Tap
Why would you
Stonehenge
do
over
that?
there.
Yes.
It's so weird.
It was a small Spinal Tap Stonehenge sculpture laying on its side, kind of. And we never understood, well, why don't you touch the rocks? I don't know. You just don't touch the rocks.
Bad luck.
Don't.
Well, yeah.
Clearly it was.
The obelisks have juju.
But we learn.
I
why.
learned. So apparently, I sat a set list on the rocks, and I didn't know, but these rocks kept an outlet on the stage together, intact, instead of using tools and screws and tape and conventional.
We're not saying where this bar is. It could be in any city,
Could be
anywhere, really.
But no, 3 Stonehenge limestone rocks stacked up, and I set a set list on it for just a hot second, and boom, and that's the sound that it made. All the power to the stage, the mains, the
lights,
subs, the
sound,
lights,
everything.
everything made this horrifying digital death sound
Oh.
really
What
loud.
part of the stage was what area of the stage was it in?
Right in front of the stage.
Why would that?
Right
is
next
It's like,
to your
it's like,
foot.
hey, this is a great place
so
to plug in a
fucking
pedal
stupid.
board. No, we're not going to plug in a pedal board. We're going to plug in
Everything.
everything on the stage. If you know the scene in A Christmas Story where they've got the one plug just powering
Blow
everything.
the fuse again.
That's how that. And so I caught that. That was me destroying everything that night. We finally got it up and running after. I don't know really what happened. I loaned somebody a flashlight and they took off, and then I never got my flashlight back. I had to like late.
But you got sound.
we got sound, and my Lord, did I not touch those bricks ever again. And ever since then, I'm going to start. That's going to be kind of some of my stage props right there. Is I'm going to start putting some little limestones right in front of me.
It was so impactful. It's like an invisible fence for your dog. If we need him to stay in an area, we just put the bricks out. He just kind of yelps.
Mm-hmm. I learned real quick, and it's like I was scared of those bricks all night. The whole show, I would just edge away, and just I was already far enough away, but I just like kick my pedal board over a little bit more and scoot over a little bit more. And I was damn near center stage by the end of the show.
Wow.
I was outside. I don't remember. I had to run some errand, sound checked, and I had to do something. I was going to come back, and I was outside, and the sky lit up, and there was like a shower of sparks out front in the street. I don't know how, it was freaking crazy. I got excited for a minute, though, because I thought my aliens were coming for me. It's like, this is it.
All right. Time has come.
All right, last question. Who's the last local artist you listened to?
Yeah.
I went and saw Dave Ernst in the Early Favorites Saturday. I think a bunch of us have been to see the Low Glow quite a few times because most of that band is nice guys. Not everyone, obviously, but like you said, we're all friends with a lot of these groups, and we've all played together. And they make music that we enjoy going to hang out and hear.
Cool.
Anybody else?
Danny Flanagan, little band.
He's playing tonight at the Raven.
Yes.
Yeah. I work with his drummer, and I hadn't really listened to any of their
Brian
stuff.
Cronin?
Brian Cronin, yeah.
He recorded one of my records a while back.
Yeah.
Over at Goldsmith, man.
Oh, yeah. So,
Good dude.
Me and you got all kinds of stuff to talk about. But I was I kind of just happened upon this song, and I thought it was great. So great that I was like, we're going to steal this. Nobody knows who this is. We're going to cover this tune. And then, and I was, had to run into a store and get something real quick, and I didn't leave until the song was over with. And it was on like Roots and Boots on 91.9 or something like that. And I'm like, that's incredible. I want to hear that twice before I make it home. And it's little band. It was Danny Flanagan, Jenna Lee.
Oh, that's a good song.
That is a great song. So yeah, that struck me.
All right. I'm going to have to check that out, little band. Anybody
Irvis
else?
Melvin and the Mistakes.
Oh, man. All right.
Oh, no, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
I was
That was like my
man.
Satchel's Pawn Shop are friends of mine, and I like seeing them. They're
Nervous
I've
Melvin's
seen
like a
them
big
recently.
Butchertown pub flashback.
oh yeah.
That was old Marvin Maxwell, wasn't it?
Mm.
Here's a cool one that was new to me. Palomina is what they're called, based out of
Palomina.
Louisville. And it was, it's hard not to name drop my own bands because that's the only time I ever get to go out is when I'm playing. But it was Drift City, who I play with, Hawks, and Palomina was in the middle. And man, they were so cool. I think they're based out of sort of the Portland area, down northwest Louisville. And real spacey, psychedelic, but just super interesting songwriting. Those guys are cool.
Cool.
Awesome. I have to check that out.
Midnight Lounge Crew.
Oh yeah.
Love those
There you
guys. They're fantastic.
Yeah, I heard a lot of
I
things
think I know
about
the guitar
them.
player.
I saw the
Singer,
guitar
she's
player
something
checking
else.
Ashley out.
I swear.
I saw them just last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we had a gig with them, didn't we? I just went and saw Overload and Wild Ride and American Bombshell, and that was a great show.
Cool.
Where was that?
Metal bands over in Losers 812 in
Okay. You
Jeffersonville.
have to check that place out. I've seen
It's-
a lot of my friends have played there.
It's a lot of good
Yeah.
bands go through there. So
Right on. Well, y'all want to play another one for us?
Yeah.
All right. What do you got?
Yep, you got it. It's called Guaranteed Catastrophe.
All right.
Hard times will find you, bad luck can grind you, and they'll break your mind if you let them, and oh, you let them sometimes. for what I need. And I don't need authenticity, no, no. Not at all, oh, no, no. 'Cause I take my comfort in this den of thieves, and I'll find something to lift me up, 'cause I'm shattered down on my knees. We're all waiting to see my guarantee catastrophe. We're all waiting to see my guarantee catastrophe. 'Cause scars and tattoos fade, and that's what they say. You know I don't know when we'll see the sun, the horizon spread out before you. Just open your eyes. My aimless ramblings, some nebulous shambling hands, not too spun out to say, but I'm faded, not gone away. We're all waiting to see my guarantee catastrophe. We're all waiting to see my guarantee catastrophe. 'Cause scars and tattoos fade, that's what they say. Oh yeah, that's what they say. We're all waiting to see my guaranteed catastrophe. Yeah, yeah. We're all waiting to see my guaranteed catastrophe. The scars and tattoos fade, that's what they say. Oh yeah, yeah, that's what they say.
Good job.
Great songs, man. All of them.
Thanks.
All right, so to our listeners that want to follow you all or find you out on the road somewhere playing some tunes, and where can they find you as far as, you know, Spotify's, Instagrams, all that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we're out there, you know, all the major music streams, you know, you'll find us on Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, those types of things. We tend to use Facebook quite a bit, you know, in terms of our promoting our events, but, you know, we're out on Instagram, that type of thing. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I think it's the best place to go.
Right on.
Just look us up, Runaway Souls.
Any shows coming up in the next month or two?
Yeah, our friends over at Melwood Tavern, you know,
right
Sunday service. Such a fun concert series.
Yeah,
we love
dude.
playing that. So we've got that coming up on May 21st.
All right,
So come on out.
This will be out right around then too, right?
Great timing.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
Right on. Definitely got to get out to see you all. Thanks again for coming. Now you got to play one more for us before we let you leave.
We didn't plan that.
You got one? Do you got one?
We got a whole album, you know.
Yeah. Let's play one more.
Oh yeah.
Pull off acoustic.
It'll all work. Ooh, I like this.
Yeah.
Let's try that.
Really?
Yes.
It's a bold move.
All right, Exit the King. We're going to do it.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
When it all starts to fade away, right before my eyes, was this all just a fantasy? Another space and time. As this palace crumbles, was it all in my mind? Everything that I wanted, and though my prayers are obscene, this I'm gonna lose this crown, ordained for the deed. Or if I'm gonna be set free, I'm gonna take what I need. I'm gonna let it slide. Gonna let it slide. I don't have to exit the king, 'cause on my own it won't mean nothing. I don't have to exit the king, 'cause on my own it won't mean nothing. I don't have to exit the king. And from the top of my mountain, we can watch it all burn down. And raise a glass to what used to be, and raise another to me. So grab my flag as we walk away, to end this jubilee. Does it really matter? Yeah. Matter anyway. I don't have to exit the king, 'cause on my own it won't mean nothing. I don't have to exit the king, 'cause on my own it won't mean nothing. I don't have to exit the king.
Love that.
Hey, thanks for coming out.
Never work acoustically.